Hello and good afternoon, and welcome, and thank you for joining us for the Dreams to Door seminar. This is a 4-week seminar, and you're joining us for the first week. And this week's topic is starting your home buying journey. And we're super excited that everyone has joined us today. And this is being recorded for anyone who's not able to attend so that we can share it in the future. But just want to kind of share with you what's in store for today. We've got the right representation by Anthony Jiha. We're going to talk about lending first steps with Trina Csip, finding the perfect fit with me. I'm Glenn Riggs. And then we're going to wrap things up with your questions being answered. So I am excited to introduce you to Anthony Jiha from the Rick Jiha Real Estate Team. So Anthony, I will let you take it away.
Amazing. Thank you, Glenn. This is a brainchild of Glenn's, and I'm so happy that we finally got to actually execute it and get it out there for everybody. So even if you're watching this on a recording, there's some great stuff in here, and we really want to help. So the first slide here, it's about getting the right representation and why that's important. There's a lot going on with NAR today, and myself, I've experienced some hesitant buyers just because of that. So the having somebody on your side is, I mean, it's crucial that when you go into a transaction of any sort, you want to know that somebody's on your side, and you want to know that somebody has some of these things that I've listed out here. So the first is local knowledge, and that one's huge. That's why I have it first. Local knowledge, and I'm talking about somebody who's in that area, knows that area, is passionate about that community. That's somebody you want to search out. The reasons being, you really want to know the neighborhoods within the city you're looking at, or even the area you're looking at, and what areas in terms of safety and schools and all that, all those very important criteria that home buyers are looking for. You want somebody specialized there who feels comfortable communicating that stuff, isn't making things up, isn't coming up with something that maybe is not helping you out in the fullest way possible. So targeted searches, those are okay. If we're here, what's the price points in this area? Are the schools that I want in this area? And you want to have somebody who can answer those questions for you. Pricing insights. So is this house priced properly based on this area? What's this price per square footage going for it in this area? And just off the top of my head, in Fremont, there are different neighborhoods. Some are much more sought after, some are not as much, but then you have a little bit lesser price point, and then people can get in. So you want to know those things. You want to have somebody who is able to communicate that to you, so that you are full of confidence as you move forward. And then there's network access, and that is somebody who's in the area really will know sort of the folks maybe who are looking to sell off market, perhaps brokers that aren't really great at communicating. Maybe they have a relationship with them. So they've built relationships in the neighborhoods, in the communities, and that's huge for getting your offer to the top of the pile as well. If I know an agent and he knows me, our offer is going to be considered. Even if it's not that great, at least we'll be in there. He's like, that's Anthony. I know he's got a buyer that's serious. And that's a huge part of it. Off of that, you want guidance, right? So you want to have communication with your agent, and you want to have somebody who communicates in the style that you prefer. Text, emails, calls. Do you want to be called twice a week? Do you want to be emailed 4 times a week? Whatever it is, you want to have that communication, and you want somebody who's on the ball with you, willing to do those things, because that's going to make the process just that much easier and sort of smoother for you. And then when we get to informed decisions, when we're talking about price, is this where we want to go? Is this something like we're in the market now where things are going over asking? Is this area of Fremont, Mission, San Jose, are these houses going for over asking? So we want to talk about those decisions, and you want somebody who's giving you information based on facts and what's been going on. And then the market insight. So like, what is the sale to list ratio in the area? So are things going over 100% of asking? Are they going under? Where are we right now? Because it's been changing. It's in November, December, it was a little slower. It's picking up. we're very much, again, I'm just going to use Fremont as an example, um, in a seller's market right now. There's not enough inventory. Things are getting gobbled up fast. And you want somebody who can convey those things to you so that you feel confident moving forward. And then we have advocacy. Our responsibility is fiduciary. It's in our agreements. Our jobs are to protect you as best as possible and guide you as best as possible. And when you find somebody who has the knowledge of the area, that just becomes a lot easier. Our negotiating power, like I mentioned earlier, we do this all the time. So you want somebody who knows how to talk to an agent, how to ask the right questions of another agent, what type of interest is going on this house. Are you expecting over asking, or how many disclosure packets are downloaded, all kinds of stuff that comes up once you've gone through offers back and forth enough times. And then we want to mitigate the risks. We don't want you getting into something. You want somebody who's there to explain those things to you, the contingencies. Why are they there? Do we need to really get our own inspections on this house because the listing folks haven't? These are protections for the buyer, and we want to go through those steps, a step-by-step way that allows you to understand what are the risks. Is this deposit at risk right now? Within our contingencies, what does that mean? The loans, appraisals, and inspections, they're all super important. And when you have the right representation, somebody you connect with, then those pieces of information, not only are they crucial, but they're conveyed in a way that you understand and you get, and you're both on the same page. And then my last big one is your peace of mind. And that's kind of what all this is sort of summed up into. This is a huge moment. Buying your first home is a benchmark moment in your life. I remember my first home purchase. I remember every detail about it. And our goal as realtors is to help and to serve. And in that, we want to create ease, and we want to this sense of wonder, oh my God, I can't believe we want to take you to this outside of your box experience that I didn't even realize I could get into a house. And now the whole process has been so wonderful because of the communication, because of the knowledge of the area, because of the experience of my realtor, who has led me here, held my hand, and we worked together to get to this point of closing. And then once you're finished, that was great. I mean, I'm going to remember this fondly for the rest of my life. And then after that, getting into your next home after that, you have a good taste in your mouth, and you want to continue, investing or searching out properties. We want to leave you with a good taste in your mouth, basically, and remember fondly your experience of buying your first home. So hopefully that is a bit of good information for you, why you need to pick the right person, why it's so important to have representation on your side. And we are here for you, the Rick G. Howe Real Estate Team. We've been in business 43 plus years, and we're here for your Bay Area needs. So don't hesitate to reach out. At that, I will now call up our lender, Trina, and I'm going to say it right. Cecep. Wait, I had it. Come on. Trina Cecep, our lovely lender who's joined us today. Trina, thank you so much for being here. I'll let you take it.
Awesome. Thank you. Hey, Glenn, we'll just stay on this slide. I'll be okay. But again, my name is Cecep. I've been in lending for 20 plus years. I'm going to go over some basics. And I love that Glenn kind of brought up these bullet points, because it's not so much just so salesy, but really just trying to prepare you for real life experiences and what it takes to get started with a lender. So I'm just going to jump right into it. We'll stay on this slide that Glenn has there right now. But getting started with a lender, just it's really important just to be prepared. Obviously, you don't want to waste anybody's time, but knowing a little bit about your current situation helps me as a loan officer place you in the right type of loan and get just a good picture of your credit profile, if you want to call it that. So some things you want to keep in mind are think about or find out what your credit scores are. Those are readily available on bank apps. Maybe some people are subscribed to Credit Karma, that kind of thing. But knowing what your credit scores are really important, because it might be alarming to you if it's something doesn't look right. Then you're going to discover maybe there's some fraud on there that you didn't know about. But if not, maybe it's on the good side where like, hey, you got 800 credit scores. Hey, you're off to a great start. So know where your credit scores are. Maybe calculate even your budget. Know what kind of payment you feel, you know, what you're going to feel comfortable with. Maybe you're renting right now. So I can help educate you to say, to see that difference between what is a rent payment? What does that really mean when you convert that, say, to a mortgage payment? You can probably afford a lot more because there's so many benefits when you have home ownership versus just renting. So calculate your budget. So know what your mortgage payment or that you might feel comfortable with, but also know what kind of debts that you have. Your budget is all about income and liabilities. So maybe you have some expenses. Maybe you want to maybe pay down some expenses before you get into a home purchase. Those are some things that are going to help us make sure you get qualified right away. Or maybe we can set some goals that it's going to take some time to plan forward to get to that point where you're ready to write an offer. So important thing, also save for your down payment. Obviously, can't buy a house without money. There's also closing cost involved. We don't want that to be a surprise. Those costs could add up really quick, and we definitely don't want any surprises. You're going to want to have your financial documents in order. So make sure you're not scattered. I know I've been in lending for so long, but sometimes if someone asks me, "Hey, where's your last pay stub, or your tax returns?" I'm like, where are they? But you're going to have all of those documents on hand. It's important because lenders don't let things slack anymore. We really document everything. It's all about the ability to repay. So one other thing about getting started with lenders, bring your questions. There's no dumb question. Bring up whatever you might be concerned about. Maybe there's one thing that's stopping you and you want to bring that question up first. Hey, we're here to help, solve those problems to say, like, you know what, that's not going to be a stumbling block, but if it is, let's address it and see if we can move forward. So that's a little bit about getting started with a lender. What do you need? I talked a little bit about documentation. So pay stubs, W-2s, bank statements, tax returns if needed. If you're self-employed, that's when we'll need those documents. And then about your income, we'll need to know if you're self-employed or employed. If you get bonus income, if you have overtime, all of those things are important. So keep that in mind to bring that up because we don't want to miss something that it can help you qualify for a higher sales price if we're not counting something. Also get your assets in line. So figure out, hey, mom and dad are going to give me a gift. So that's going to help me with my down payment. Or maybe somebody's been saving a lot and they have money in their 401k. That's another option that you can take a draw from your 401k to help with down payment. So there's lots of opportunities to help you find other resources for it other than just your savings. So bring that up in that conversation. Liabilities. Liabilities, when we qualify for a mortgage payment, we just look at things that are on your credit report. So we're not talking about your gym membership or a cell phone bill. We're talking about credit cards, student loans, car loans, that kind of thing. Anything that would appear on a credit report is what we would count as a liability when we calculate your debt to income ratio. And that's what we as lenders look at to help you qualify for the loan you're looking for. And then lastly, as I mentioned before, is about your credit. Know what your credit history is. So your score is one thing, but if there's any things that might be detrimental, like say collection accounts or bankruptcies, those are important too. I will say there's a solution to almost everything. I've helped people who've had bankruptcies still purchase a home. So don't think that one credit event should stop you from buying a home. And we could talk about that a little bit more as we go through this. But credit is important, but have an idea of what your credit picture looks like. Next, what are some different lending options? There's lots of different types of loans. I'll go over a couple real quick. Conventional financing, that's what you would go to, like say if you're going to a bank, a mortgage broker like myself, or a credit union. They all have what we call conventional financing. They follow standard guidelines that everybody follows the same standards. You might have heard like Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. These are all guidelines that we follow to qualify for conventional financing. There's also FHA financing, Federal Housing Administration. Those are loans that are insured by them. Basically, it's a government loan, and those are insured loans. They're designed to help most often like first-time home buyers, but not necessarily just first-time home buyers. They're also designed to help people maybe with a little bit less than perfect credit. So FHA loans, smaller down payments, that type of thing, a little bit more lenient in the guidelines for underwriting. So again, the goal is to help people get into a home with a little bit easier underwriting guidelines. VA loans are guaranteed by the Department of Veteran Affairs. That's for eligible veterans, active duty service members, and their spouses. VA loans offer 100% financing. So one thing I always try to ask my clients when they looking to purchase, I ask them, are they a veteran? Because we don't want to eliminate the opportunity of going with a VA loan. You can get no down payment. Interest rates are very competitive with the VA. There's also no mortgage insurance. So if you recall, the standard saying is people think you have to put 20% down to buy a home. Well, definitely you don't have to. But because if you don't, then you have to pay mortgage insurance. But with a VA loan, no mortgage insurance. So win-win. Obviously, we want to give the best to people who serve our country. So USDA loans are another type of loan. Those are more for like rural, suburban areas. Um, it's designed for low to moderate income. So the home has to be located in a specific area to be qualified for this. You can also qualify for 100% financing for this. But one other caveat to this is you also have to be in a certain income bracket as well. So, that's if you're looking way far out. You'd be surprised. There's even some places like out in Clayton and Concord that are actually eligible for USDA loans. So, if you ever think that might be out of the main area, give me a call, or I can even tell you there's a website you can go to look up to see if that property is located in the zone where you would get USDA financing. Jumbo loans. Jumbo loans are for obviously high cost, high loan amount limits. We live here in the Bay Area. Lovely, glad to live here, and I know all of us do. We live in a high cost area, but there's jumbo loans for those higher price loans. But the one thing I will kind of backtrack a little bit is we live in a high cost area, so our counties around here, um, Alameda County, Contra Costa County, San Mateo, Santa Clara, San Francisco County, we're all considered high cost counties. So our conforming loan amount limits go all the way up to 1,149,825. What that means is that's not a jumbo loan, and you could still qualify with conforming interest rates. But anything above that would be considered a jumbo loan, typically higher interest rates, higher credit requirements, and down payment as well. So available for anybody who might need it. I know with our prices, you might fall into that category as well. Um, and then just about the different types of mortgages, fixed, adjustable. I think that speaks for themselves. Adjustable rates are great because they often come with a lower start rate than a fixed rate. Or maybe that's a great option if someone is looking, they know they're only going to be here for 5 years, or maybe they think they're going to refinance in the next couple of years. Those are great. But fixed rates, yes, that's a whole nother topic. I won't go too much into that. I know that's probably the first thing you want to hear when you talk to a loan officer is what are interest rates today? Well, I'll tell you, first of all, that's the hardest question to ask. So, because it obviously encompasses so many things to give you a quote. But I will say, um, there's optimism that rates are going to improve. There's also, some that think that might be still about a year out. But whatever it is, I can only say, and I ask that our realtors on the call probably agree, now is always the right time. Particularly now, it's because, do you want to buy in a market where there's, less buyers because they're afraid because interest rates are high? Would you rather want to buy during a time where there's fewer people in the market, or do you want to play that game when there's everybody split in the market because rates are low? Now you've got, maybe hundreds of people looking at the same area that you are. So, the one thing to remember about buying a home in a market like this is even if it's high interest rates, you can always refinance. So keep that in mind too. And obviously, we do anticipate rates improving. Almost at the end here, what should you keep doing? Whenever you're entering in this phase of life where you want to buy a house, number one, keep saving money. Home prices are high, so we know that savings is important because if you have to go over asking, you might have to bring in a little more down payment. But your realtor is going to be there on your side to help you get the right offers, so you wouldn't have to go into that event. But build your savings, keep good credit habits, don't make any late payments, avoid financial changes. Like changing a job or making big purchases. We definitely don't want to increase your debts that's on your credit report. get pre-approved. I didn't even mention that, but meeting with your loan officer so you can get pre-approved is extremely important. As far as what you should keep doing, get that in line, get that scheduled. Work with your realtor. They're your experts. Use them and you're their resources to help you get through your home search. Quick couple things. I'll end it on this: what not to do. I actually have a long list, but I'm going to say it really fast because I think these are super important. Is don't miss any credit card payments. I know I thought I did. Unfortunately, I did not. But I had a client, I will say, just applied with me. He looked to refinance. He overlooked a credit card. He had a 30-day late and a 60-day late. His credit scores dropped from 800 to 611. So I don't think anybody wants to be in that boat. That's huge. And I say this because your most recent credit activity is what's going to reflect in your credit scores. So this guy's score dropped almost 200 points. It's real. Creditors don't have any mercy. So make your payments on time. Don't overlook closing costs when I said keep saving your money for the down payment, but you have to factor in closing costs. Your loan officer will go over those details with you. What else do I have here? Don't neglect your due diligence. I'll close it on this one. There's so much paperwork on a loan. I know it's overwhelming. We all joke about when we close, you have a stack of paper like that much and that you'll sleep on it, but it's really important to read it all. We don't want you to mistake anything, but disclosures is a big part of our process on the lending side, just as it is on the real estate side. So read those, ask questions. We don't want any surprises, and that's the last thing I would ever want my clients to have. So anyways, that's a little bit of what not to do. I'll close there. Hopefully that was a lot. I know I talked fast, but you can always pause and rewind.
Great. Thank you so much, Trina. Great information there. So now what we're going to move on is I'll talk a little bit about finding the perfect fit. So we spend a lot of time in dressing rooms when we buy clothes because we want to make sure it fits right. And this really does talk about the same when you're looking at buying a house. So just to piggyback and transition on what Trina had to say is know how much first. So she talked about your pre-approval process. You certainly want to meet with a lender before you go out home shopping too much because you need to know what you can afford. If you've been approved for 800,000 and you fall in love with that $1 million house, then right somewhere you have to come up with that extra money in order to make that happen. So always meet with your lender first, get that pre-approval so you know exactly where you should be shopping. I love this one. So creating your wish list with must and nice. So when you're making that list, you're going to have items that are must-haves and you're going to have items that are nice-to-haves. Now, maybe you have children, small children who are attending school. So the perfect school district is what is on your must-have list. Maybe having 3 or more bedrooms or having 3 or more bathrooms because you don't want to share the bathroom with your daughters trying to get ready in the morning. So those might be must-haves. Nice-to-haves usually are things like a swimming pool or a 3-car garage or an ADU, those types of things. So really make sure that you're honest with yourself on that must-have and that nice-to-have list. Many times that can make a difference when you get down to making that final decision on your home. Let your realtor help you with your search. Don't go at it alone. There are lots of ways for you to research homes, whether it's through Zillow or Redfin or any number of sites that you can access out there to do your home search, but certainly don't do it alone. Let us help you. We have lots and lots of tools to help you conduct your searches, and many of them we use AI. And to the point that Anthony made earlier is that we're really connected. We attend marketing groups. We have friends and colleagues that we talk with regularly. So if we know that you're looking for a specific home in a certain area, we can actually put those out to our networks and to our colleagues to say, hey, I've got Joan and she's looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in Berkeley. And then if someone has something that's coming up, they know that that's a fit. They can come to us directly, and it kind of helps to give you the leg up. The next bullet is see homes. Showings, that's where we take you and we open the door for you and we show you into that house. So that's one option in seeing homes. Another way that you can see homes is to go to open houses. This can be rather intimidating because if you've never been to an open house before, you walk in and there's usually an agent there who's showing the home, but there might be other people. So sometimes people want to take their agent with them, and we're happy to attend those open houses with you. But don't be afraid to go those on your own. If someone says, "Are you working with somebody?" That's an easy answer. You can say yes. And to feel even more confident, take your realtor's business card with you and say, "Oh, maybe you know Glenn, or maybe you know Anthony," when you go to that open house, so that you feel confident that you are represented and that someone is there for you. I love to cruise through neighborhoods, especially when you find a home that you feel is right. Take the time, go through that neighborhood in the morning. If you have kids that are going to be walking to school, drive through, park on a corner. Don't be creepy about it, but park on a corner, see what the traffic is like so that you know how safe your kids are walking to school. I encourage you to go walk the neighborhood at night. Park your car, take a walk, go for a couple of blocks, see what kind of noises are there at night, because for the most part, you're only going to see the home during certain periods of time. Usually those are during business hours or on the weekends. So maybe you're curious as to what the parking looks like after hours in the evening on the street. So absolutely take the time to cruise through your new neighborhood. Fall in love. I can guarantee you I've seen it many, many times where someone walks into a home, and Anthony's smiling. I know that he's seen this as well, but you've shown someone 10 homes, 20 homes, and it's the 26th home that you walk into, and the way that they talk about that home is different than the way that they talked about all others. Suddenly they're talking about where they're going to put their dog's bed. They're going to envision where their couch is going. They want to know where their 85-inch TV is going to fit. So do not be afraid to fall in love. And I will go back to my first bullet, is that before you fall in love, please, please, please make sure that you are doing so within your means. Definitely do that. And then the last item I have listed here is to get your offer accepted. Um, Anthony spoke to the fact that getting your offer seen in this market sometimes can be hard. Many times, sellers are just looking at the highest offer or what they consider to be the best offer. Having a realtor who's connected and takes the time to reach out to that agent to make sure that they're getting the terms that they want. Sometimes people aren't necessarily interested in the highest amount. Sometimes people want a fast close. Sometimes sellers are looking for a slow close, right? They might want to take the next 60 days to find their replacement home. So it might be that they want a longer escrow and maybe even an opportunity for rent back. And that might be what makes the most attractive offer to that seller. So make sure that you're connecting with an agent who's willing to go that extra mile to reach out to that listing agent and not just blindly submit an offer. But most importantly, there is a perfect fit, and I love those moments, and I love when that comes to fruition for our clients. So with that, we're going to go to some of the questions, and I'm going to take off our screen share so you can see our lovely, beautiful faces. I have one here, Trina, that came in from online. And this person says, is getting approved scary? And you're on mute.
Okay. It's definitely not scary. In fact, this is where I just get to know my clients. So don't be afraid. It might open some things that you might not see because you don't pull your credit report, but and things like that. But I'm here to help. So I don't think it's a scary thing. I think it's the most important thing. So I can see why it might be intimidating, but it doesn't have to be.
So Trina, I think that a lot of times people look at talking to their lender a lot like when they're afraid to open that letter for jury duty that comes in, right? The letter comes in, it says you've been called or summoned for jury duty. You don't even want to open it. I think that's why they started sending postcards now, so you don't even have to open the letter.
Okay. Right.
Right, but you figure if I don't know what the date is, then I don't have to deal with this right now. So I think that many times people take the same approach, that it's the fear of the unknown, right? They don't know what they don't know. And many times people think that if they sit down and talk to you, that you're going to pull their credit, and that's an instant ding on their credit report. Can you talk about like how soon that happens and what that usually looks like?
Oh, great question. So there's a difference between being like pre-qualified and pre-approved and fully approved. But in a nutshell, what I like to do with my clients, because if they're still really discovering the whole what the process is about, I can pre-qualify them without pulling a credit report. So if as long as they're being upfront and honest, I can say, okay, if this is your income, these are your assets, this is what your credit score might be. I can get an idea of what you would qualify for and say, okay, based on the data you just stated to me, you're pre-qualified. The next stage is pre-approval, where you actually fill out a loan application. I pull credit, and then we run what we call an automated decision to get like it pre-approved. So the next step is actually submitting all your documentation, everything that I ask you for, pay stubs, W-2s, bank statements, tax returns, so forth, and we submit it to underwriting for approval. And you can get that done even without having an address identified. So obviously, once you're in contract, we're going to go through that same process again. But there's ways we can get a head start so we can help you get a quick close if that's what you need.
Great, thank you. Anthony, there's one here for you. Someone wants to know here, where can you do business?
Well, I'm a licensed California realtor. Good question, because this comes up a lot with our first time home buyers who just reach out randomly, um, and anywhere in California actually. Um, so if you find us, through Zillow perhaps, um, know that if you can ask this question too: are you a licensed realtor in California? And that clears that up right away. Um, you know, the realtors have specialized areas, just like I spoke about before. You want someone who knows the area. Um, we tend to find a lot of folks who go to the person that they're related to, or somebody that happens to be that they found, on the bus stop sign or whatever. And all those people are great, and I'm sure they do tons of work. But you want somebody who's really specialized. So I would say do your homework, make sure they're a licensed California realtor. But myself, I can do business in all of California. I'm specialized in the Bay Area.
Great. And actually, we have a network that we belong to that allows us to refer you out to other areas. So I have a client who's currently looking to relocate to the San Francisco Bay Area for work, but they have a home in Las Vegas that they need to sell before they can make that happen. So I've got a partner in Las Vegas that I'm working with. So it also helps us to be able to time those transactions so that we can sell their Las Vegas home and get them into their Bay Area home at the same time. So that also helps us to work outside of the area.
Right. And I would suggest that if you know somebody in the area and you trust that person, you can trust who they're going to refer you to as well, as opposed to just randomly reaching out to, say, somebody in Las Vegas, for their help.
Great. So someone asked, I love this question. It says, how will I know what is considered a good offer? And we get asked that question a lot. Like, what is a good offer? Well, first of all, my crystal ball is so broken. I can't tell the future. If I could, I probably wouldn't be selling real estate. I would be traveling with the circus. But to my earlier point, we can make all sorts of presumptions based on what we know. Anthony talked about pulling up comparable homes in the area to figure out where this home should be priced. We can have those conversations with the listing agent to try to figure out what their clients are hoping to get. Right, again, determining whether the money is important or whether it's the time that it takes to close, all of those different items. So a good offer can come in many different forms. Okay, Trina, someone wants to know, how long does it take to build good credit?
Mhm. Well, I will say, I have daughters, and I tell them, I go, you have to have at least two accounts at bare minimum. It could be a credit card. But as far as building credit, typically lenders are going to want to see at least a 2-year history. So the sooner you start that, the better. There are some ways around it. And I will tell you, you could be an authorized user on your parents' account. That kind of helps build a little bit of credit history, but you still want to build some on your own. So if I had to answer your question, my suggestion is get it early, pay it on time. But I would say about 2 years would be minimum. There are other ways, but it's going to be your hold a stronger case if you can get it on a credit report where it produces a legitimate score. Then you get 3 credit scores coming back versus maybe just one. So hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah, great. Thank you. I'll throw this one out there. We'll see, Anthony, maybe you want to answer this one. Someone's asking if they have a green card, if they can buy a house.
Oh, I haven't dealt with that yet.
That's a good question, right? So the answer is yes, right? Yes, they certainly can buy a house. And I see Trina nodding her head. However, in some cases, it does limit the type of homes that you're able to get into based on the type of loan. So, for example, some communities have below market rate or incentive programs that are offered like that are subsidized or sponsored by the city. In those cases, it does require that you're a citizen of the US. Trina, anything more to add around that discussion from a lending side?
Yeah, I will say sometimes too, maybe if you're entering jumbo territory too, if you're permanent, actually, I take it back. No, permanent residents are treated like, is that what you said? Permanent residents or
Green card.
yeah,
So
green
that
card.
could be permanent resident.
Yeah, yeah. So most cases they're treated the same as citizens, but if they're like a H-1B visa, when you're entering that category, that might limit how much require payment. But I honestly want to say there's almost a loan out there for everybody. We even have loans for ITIN holders. So imagine that. So it's there. Things are coming back again.
I think I don't mean to jump in, but I've experienced this a bunch where the buyers are hesitant to reach out to the lender or hesitant to give those things to give
We're
the
not the
information.
police.
Yeah, and I think that there's something to be said for taking that step because it just unlocks this door so you understand where you need to go. Am I here yet? How much farther do I need to go to get there? And yeah, I think you've explained it very eloquently. And yeah, hopefully people will take away from this that it's not too scary to.
No, not
No,
at all.
no, not at all. So Anthony, it looks like we've got one more here. It says, how soon should I engage with a real estate agent?
Oh, right now. That's the
Right
answer.
now.
Yeah, talk to him. I mean, myself, all I want to do is sit down and see how we connect. That's like the first thing I want to do. And the sooner you do that, the sooner you guys can figure out, okay, this is a match. Let's go look for some stuff together. Let's find out what your goals are. How can I help you reach those goals? Because that's my main thing. We're here to serve. We are people just like you. Sometimes people don't connect with each other, but the sooner you get out there and start talking to people, just like lenders, like the whole process is just folks, people being people, and we want to connect and we want to create a relationship. So don't be scared to come talk to us, and same with lenders.
Yeah, it's interesting. This person asked the question, how soon to engage with a real estate agent? And I know that all of us here today, we've used the term real estate agent and realtor. And sometimes we think it's interchangeable, but just kind of for a background, as a realtor, we're actually bound by a different set of rules and regulations. We pay a special fee. We are required to take courses that make sure that we act morally and ethically to do right by our clients. It allows us access to homes based on, lockbox access. So you know that someone who is a realtor is more than just passing the test and answering ABC questions correctly, that we are bound to a different set of rules.
Good point. Thanks for bringing that up, Glenn.
Yeah, of course. And then Trina, I think we have one last one here for you. It says they're applying with their husband. What credit score will be used for approval?
Oh, good question. Typically, everybody has 3 credit scores. For lending, we will use the lowest middle score is usually what's used. So only in some rare cases on certain loan products where a lender may choose for their niche products, they might say they'll use the primary region score. But be on the safe side, if there are more than one, actually, even if there's more than one, if there's 3 borrowers or 4, they're going to use the lowest middle credit score of that borrower.
So just for clarification, let's say that you and I were married and we're applying for, we don't even have to be married. You and I are going to buy a home together. And my score is I have 3 scores, right? 750, 760, and 780. and you have 3 scores, 800, 810, and 830, they're going to take and use my score of the 710 score.
You got it. You got it. Yeah.
Perfect.
The lowest mid score of all the applicants.
Great. Good question. All right. I don't see any additional questions, so we're going to go ahead and just get to wrapping things up. So I wanted to let everyone know that our next session is going to be a week from today, so Wednesday, April 10th at 4 p.m. And that one is called What's in an Offer? So that's where we have some experts coming in to talk about what the offer process looks like. Definitely help to demystify what goes on during that time period and help you out with those next steps. So make sure that you don't miss that session. We will record that as well. So if you're unable to attend, we'll make sure that we share that out with you. But a special thanks to Laura, who joined us here this evening to help make sure that all of our questions got answered. And from a technology standpoint, everything ran smooth. Huge thank you to Trina and Anthony for being here as well. And most importantly, we appreciate you taking the time to join us for this Dreams to Door seminar.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Trina. This was really great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks all. Have a great night. We'll talk to you soon.